and a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, dear brothers and sisters, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow is your host. This show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, a Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry that has 400 years of history, glorious history, and hand-forged by 10 generations of the greatest master craftsman, and that stands for a testimony of spectacular and the share of royal glory. Back to the show. Today with me is my dear friend, a former candidate for California Senate and now a political commentator of Southern California, Mr. Chris Shahinian.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm a regular guest now. You know, you don't have to give introduction for people because they know me. Who I am.
Well, in case they just see you the first time, right?
That's correct.
But you are being liked by lots of friends of mine.
Thank you.
Upon receiving letters and emails and telephone calls are received, I believe that your ideology has been well received by
Thank
lots
you.
of my audiences. And that said, we're talking about the Democratic Party debate for the second round. Last night concluded the last half of the second round of the Democratic debate, presidential debate. It is a situation that both sides declare victory. Both the GOP and Democrats say, hey, we won. Well, nobody know why would anybody win or how they won in those each categories. With my friend Chris, we would like to go into details today, right? So now putting the first debate and the second debate all together, overall impression, what kind of picture are you going to draw to our audiences about the 2020 election?
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of way you can look at this Democratic Party debate. In a way, Democratic Party, DNC, was able to collaborate with CNN to put this two debate in Michigan. It was a big deal. So the audience was big, and this is the way we Democratic Party and Republican, when they come, in their time, they're going to do that. Give the audience, the American people, the candidate they are qualified. They're going to be your future president. And this debate, the whole idea is this debate is to showcase the people they are putting their name out to be president of the United States. Mm-hmm. And you said in this two debate that I saw, your show is East and West, correct? Mm-hmm. For the first time in our history, Democratic Party looks like East and West. Uh-huh. There was so much different between one group of a candidate and another group. And we saw that, witnessed during the debate, the heat exchange, the policy exchange that was far from each other. That's why now the Democratic Party becomes East and West Party.
Which is good, isn't it?
Which is good if we have people like Jack bringing it together.
Yeah, all right. Okay,
so,
all
but
right.
more we see this debate, we see Democratic Party is getting separated from each other. Mm-hmm. There's two ideology now, two big ideology in Democratic Party. Our country is divided now, number one. Our country is divided to two separate groups. And there's one group no matter what Donald Trump said, they believe it. Another group, no matter what Bernie Sanders says and Warren says, they believe. So there's so division. And that division also is in Democratic Party. And what we witnessed the last 2 days, in a way, this is our democracy. But at the same time, if you're going to go to fight, you have a strong enemy, just like not enemy, opponent. I'm talking about the Republican. You want to bring on the table the best of the best.
Yeah.
You want to make sure the candidates are there. You know, they know how to fight, how to win. But from that 20 candidate that we saw,
Nevertheless, you don't see that.
10 of them is going to gone already, disappeared. Even during debate, they were not there at all. They were like, popping from here and there.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the energy. They didn't have the charisma. They didn't have the vision. They didn't have even conviction what they are saying, some of them. Some of them like saying things that, just to cover up their time. So, but in a nutshell, if we take first day, there's 2-star first day, Tuesday. Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, they were shining star. And one of the good things in the first day, Sanders and Warren, they're embracing each other. They're partnering each other to bring Democratic Party unity. Even though the rest of the 8 was too, lost in a debate, but these 2 giants, I call them giant in Democratic Party, not some of their, platforms, but as far as their conviction, as far as the love of their country, as far as what they believe in, they're 2 fighters.
All right.
And they shine with their ideology.
I have to say, I love your analysis, your preliminary analysis of these 2 debates, 2 rounds of debates, though, are number 1, fair, number 2, profound, right? And to do it to the utmost, though, I will recommend that you and I, of course, you may disagree with me, take 2 aspects. Aspect number 1, we take aspect of the country which is best. What is the best for this country, right? And then, of course, what is the best for each party. So in other words, there is a party view, there's a national view. From a national view, we see this country is so divided. Everything under this beautiful flag of democracy is divided, either divided or being divided or to be divided. What do we need, or who do we need to heal up from the division? This is number 1 for the vision, for the nation, right? And number 2, we're talking about both parties are divided too. There is the left of Republicans, there's the right of Republicans, there is the conservative Republicans. And for Democrats, they have the extreme left Democrats, and they have the moderate Democrat, and I don't know. There are many kinds. Right?
There are many kinds.
Now, how do we see which way will benefit the country best? Let's see that first.
Let me just, the whole idea of, we have 2 parties, even though we have more than 2 parties, but only major parties that they fight each other, they have candidates. This whole idea of debate is to bring that star, that the candidate that understand what we need today, our country. If you look, I'm going to bring history again. During the crisis, and when there's a war, you need a general, because the wartime general understand how to motivate, how to win. And now it's like kind of a war going on. It's a war going on. We can just name it. But it's war going on. We need a general now. We need somebody has the charisma, somebody has the vision, and somebody at the same time not to go to war if we're gonna lose. So we need that in this 20 candidates that fighting now. We have a president now. The president is candidate for his party. No one is challenging him yet. I think he's going to be the nominee for the Republican Party. Democratic Party, now until next June, they have to work among themselves to bring the best. Division has been there in our country from the beginning. From the day that, we were put in the Constitution, there was some division. People, they don't want it. Some of the people, they say, no, we can't fight against a big empire. But some of them, they were visionaries. They say, no, we can't build a new nation. We can't live without, King George influence.
Sure.
And we did. We survived. But this division comes in a time, and leaders come and heal it same time. Looking at our history, Kennedy did, that healing when we were so divided. John Kennedy was able to bring us together. Reagan did the same thing. We had some of the good examples in our history that when country was so divided, they were able to bring them together. And now, as we speak, that's what yesterday, the debate was a fight. Who's going to be the candidate?
Question is, among the 20, as we see, right? We know for sure the president of the United States now, Donald Trump, which is the candidate, could be the candidate of GOP anyway, he will not bring the country together. He will not stop the division. As a matter of fact, it was he who created division in the first place, right? Now, among the 20 of Democrats, though, do we see anybody with the general kind of quality who can, they make a call, say, here's the flag, let's unite?
Unfortunately, out of
none
of them.
None of them.
But we have to see who's the closest one. Okay, we have to give, who is. That's why if you watch yesterday, Biden was fighting to give that impression that I am that candidate.
Let's take a short moment now.
Okay.
We come back to continue exactly from there. Who the commander be, right? So do we see or have we seen so far a commander type yet? So stay with us, my dear friend. Today with me is my lovely brother, Chris Shahinian, a former candidate for California Senate, now a political commentator. And we're now on the talk about the presidential candidate for 2 rounds, with which the last half of the second round was concluded yesterday. So we will be back right away.
Everything expected. It's like seeing John Wayne.
My name is Paul James. I host the news.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the show, my dear fellow Americans. If you love United States of America as your country, you better love this show because we're talking about it, right? With me is my good friend, Chris Shahinian, former candidate of California Senate, political commentator. In Southern California, of course, we are on the left side, right? That does not prevent us to look at the country, all over the country, in a fair view, in a fair, neutral, and, I would say even view of the state, of the whole nation as our country, right? So with the general picture given, we came to a point that at this moment, when the country has been or is to be historically divided, we need some kind of a general type of person, right? Sure. Such as George Washington,
yep.
Such as Abraham Lincoln,
yes.
Such as Lyndon Johnson. And there are many of those characters who at a special time made a call, at one point, say, here's the flag, united by the flag. That's it, right?
True.
That kind of person. Have we seen for the last 2 nights?
You brought a very good example, Abraham Lincoln.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to tell you, Abraham Lincoln, when he was running as president, a lot of people, they told him, he can.
No,
he
yeah,
can
of
be
course.
good
Yeah,
president.
yeah.
And at the beginning, this historically, for his first speech, first debate, Abraham Lincoln was not, just like was grabbing attention. But later on, he was able to present himself as a real leader as the debate was forward. The reason I'm saying now, we still have a lot of time to find that general, find that Lionheart candidate.
Even with among the 20.
Among the 20. 21 is not going to be 21.
Plus there might be some new pop-ups.
Yeah, it's good. I think there's Tom Sawyer is going to be a new pop-up, probably coming. He's trying to raise money, desperately so it can be in September, probably. But it's going to be among these 20 people. And among these 20, 10 of them, they're going to be in September. The half is going to be gone, and we know who they are. I'm not going to give names as we go, but could be because last 2 dates, some of the candidates, they had a good time to shine. I'm going to give an example that, first debate, Williamson, the author, she had brilliant ideas when they approached. She has, but the overall American, Democratic Party, they are not leaning that far. When Elizabeth Warren was speaking, the crowd was cheering up for her because she proved that during the last 20 years that she is capable to stand up for what she believed, to fight for people's rights. So there is a couple of small generals in that group, but
I agree with you. And I agree with the fact, even to the fact that Elizabeth Warren was one of the highlights of the 2 nights.
Sure.
And Bernie Sanders too, even including Joe Biden, the 3 of them, right? Okay,
right.
Now, what they can do, what they are good for, might not be what exactly the nation needs.
Right.
I give you an example. I say, if I can say now, I can make a nuclear bomb myself. All right, I can do it overnight. But do we as a country need nuclear bombs?
Well,
right? I can recite 300 poems from the Tang Dynasty of China. But do we in the United States need that talent? Right? Okay, now, in order to find out who the next president to be, is first to look at what this country at this very moment is in need of. The hot issues. Shall we put this aside a little bit to pick up the hot issues between you and me, and then with the issues, we look around, say who will do the issues. Let
me tell you, a lot of issues they didn't discuss. They didn't discuss, about how middle class. They didn't discuss infrastructure. They didn't, they covered the issues that more controversial issue. And let me tell you, during this time until next June, even the candidate they know, because now they're not appealing to Americans. They're appealing for Democrats. The fight is to win Democratic, delegates. That's the fight is going on. Who's going to be able to...
Very well said.
Yes.
Very well said. Dear brother, that might be the issue now. Okay? How come it is possible that an issue that's hard among the Democratic Party not being the issue hard for the nation? In other words, as long as the party is working for the benefit of the nation, your hard issue must be the hard one for the nation. Same thing applies to everybody, every political party, GOP whatsoever, whoever.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. But
all right?
that's why I want to say CNN didn't do a good job, by the way. The reason...
they're a kind of platform.
I mean, there's 2 days, focusing only on Medicare. Come on, guys. We have tons of issues that that we can talk about, and they're just bombarding the same question over and over
are
about.
right. You are right.
That was failed.
Yeah, healthcare is an issue that is not perfect,
Yeah.
right? It is not a zero issue. We have issues. We have zero solutions here.
True.
For example, immigration reform, we have zero, right? So when healthcare, we have something there which is, even though not perfect, let it run. Give it time. We want to improve it. Anybody such as Donald Trump, if you have a better plan, please show it, right? Show the magic to the audiences. Well, other than that, we have issues that has non-solutions.
Not even talk about.
Not to talk about, right?
And they don't want to talk about it because and
That is the part-
CNN was part of the problem. Let me tell you.
That was the part that made me walk away from the show. I said, come on, they are showing.
Yeah.
They are doing the show for themselves.
True, and that's why I think what we saw last 2 days, it was not exactly what the candidate even, because after even look at their statement. A lot of them, they said we want to talk about other issues, but the moderator, that was so strict. They couldn't let the candidate to finish his statement. That was rude. That was not good at all, and that's why we missed a lot of puzzle now. So we didn't get
And
even there.
also the coordinators. The questions the coordinators ask was misleading,
And
kind of like
fighting one another,
hinting, provoking kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's why I think if we have to say who failed, I think CNN failed. I know it's a big job to always bringing all this. But as far as getting the best of this 20 candidate, we didn't see none. We see fight between Harris and Booker against Biden yesterday for good 45 minutes, 3 people fighting. I mean, and about same issue. The same issue, damn issue about Medicare. This issue is going to be like generation we're going to talk.
Which is not an issue of a life and death struggle now.
No, but it's an issue of to score point, to put one another down. And Donald Trump is watching the TV now. Hey, good job, guys. Hey.
Okay, we have 2 guys. Okay, we have 2 guys in bed. One needs a surgical operation right away to save life. The other, Jack Chow, need a solution to lose weight. All right? So, if you leave me alone for a little bit, I will not die. But this other body, on the other bed though, you leave them dead alone, it will die. They need a solution right away.
The solution.
It looks like we spent 2 nights of time talking about getting Jack Chow a solution for losing weight, which is good, of course. I do need to.
You need to some, but let's
I
not
need
focus
to.
on your
But
weight.
I will live. I will live without, right?
Hopefully live long, but I think you said division. I think if there's one major issue that we have to focus on, because we are in the blink of not only nuclear war, we are in we are just crossing the red line in the United States to start a civil war. This is very bad. I mean, this is it can't be worse than this. But we still, our president every day, he's getting advantage from dividing people, and honestly, Democratic Party, they're not doing better in bringing unity together. And last 2 days and yesterday, Biden was fighting to show the American people that I am that guy that can defeat Donald Trump. I am that guy that can dignity back to America. That was his.
And of course, we would put together one segment to specifically talk about Joe Biden. I believe he did make some point.
He did.
In not a very smart way, but the point was that
He said, "Win a soul of the country."
All right,
that's
good.
a big statement.
All right,
big
very
statement.
good. You're good. You're very good. My dear friend, with my brother Chris Shahinian, a political commentator, former candidate for California Senate, we're having some good time. When I say good time, by that I mean that we peel off the layer of the hot debate, tit for tat, going back and forth, word against word thing. We peel it off. We find there's nothing, the blank page underneath, right? So why? So we need to find out. So let's take a short moment out. We come back to continue right away, please.
Senator
Everything
everything
is bad.
is
We have to
expected.
continue to work
It's
on
like
it
it
now.
seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host English News here in Florida.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. All together, we have done so far two Democratic debates. Of course, by next June, the Republicans will finish theirs to see who the candidates would be or who will be the one running for the President of the United States. Yes, they did a good job. Every one of the 20s did a good job, not 21, but not good enough in two senses. Number one, it is in the fact that they did not present themselves 100%. All right. And number two, when they did present something, that very something fails to be the core issue of the urgent need for this nation at this very moment, right? Except one guy, Joe Biden, right? He did pull out something for his time, right? And I would like to hear from you how you are impressed of Joe Biden, please.
Well, Joe Biden now, he's a frontrunner for Democratic Party. He's very well respected, in Democratic Party. And President Obama chose him as a vice because he has a history of, fighting for civil rights, fighting for issues, in our country. And he has a history of, 40 years. Since 1970, he's been in a fight. So it's a long history. And from 1970 today, our country changed, our policy changed, a lot of things. And some of the issue that, 1970s that today is like, it's different. But Biden was part of that, transition, good and bad.
Biden was in the change.
In the change. Some of them good, some of them bad.
Yes.
But overall, as a vice president, he's a very good job. I think he was able to bring balance in a country when we had an African-American president. And Obama was very smart to nominate him as his VP. And he has a lot of experience. And one of the first day, and one of the commentators asked about the age issue for Pete Buttigieg, I think. And Pete says, age is not an issue. You can be young, you can be old, but as long as you have vision, you have a strong conviction that can bring the country together, that's what is matter. I think Joe Biden, as we speak, he's a front runner of the Democratic Party. And there's a reason for that. Because he's been there, he's done that. He knows inside out. He knows how to make things happen, and he knows how to fight.
As a senator for more than 30 years and a vice president for 8, he has accumulated enough knowledge, experiences, or whatever he has seen. He has been through all the ups and downs for the past 40 years, right? With that as a prerequisite, though, nobody comes even close among the 20, right? And the thing that I liked him a lot was that I recall that during his first speech, when he first announced his campaign, he said he will bring up the American moral.
Winning the soul.
We
of
are
the
morally
country.
down.
Correct.
We're morally corrupted, right? we are morally rotten. That is what's happening, right? For example, to have the word shithole countries, quote unquote, out of the mouth of a president of United States, who is supposed to be a president of the number one country, who is supposed to be the most educated, intelligent human being, it is an indication of the corruption of moral, right? So, with that point on, I believe last night he emphasized on that part only, not by using the same term. Did you agree with me?
I think one thing stood very clear for Biden, that he can take a punch, because he was being punched from 9/11.
Yeah.
That's leadership quality. That's what we need. He was holding his stand. He was not trashing anybody. He was smiling even under attack. He was looking at people attacking him. He was very classy, very presidential. That's American way of handling pressure. That's American way of treating somebody attacking.
That of course, I agree. I do agree. You have to put up an image which looks like a president of the United States.
And yesterday, he proved that,
Yeah, there's some kind of a baby talk.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes the baby talk works.
Sometimes work
Baby talk works.
Sometimes
right?
it work, but if you are in Senate for 40 years, you know how to
I have my wife's sister visiting there in my house. Their little daughter, 5 years of age, are with us these days, right? And this morning I happened to have a little conversation with her, and when I asked her about me, you know what she said? You're a good guy. Ooh, out of 5 years, right? You're a good guy. I'm talking about the general image of being a good guy to a 5-year who depends on you. We are the 5-year. We need a good guy to look around, look for us, right? That's the point. Okay, now, that is important. What I was asking a little earlier, though, how do you feel about his point of bringing the United States, the U.S. moral, bringing up?
I think that's why I was bringing his 40-year service. He proved himself that he is the candidate. He can work between two aisles. He's proved himself. That's what, if we look at some of the candidates, like yesterday, Kamala Harris, she lost it. I mean, you can't be a presidential when you are attacking like viciously on someone who's been there for 4 years, fighting for her. And that's why yesterday Kamala Harris, she's lost. You guys hear on the news that she's going to be out of picture. But Biden, he is. I think he's going to be nominated to the Democratic Party, regardless of how other people they think, because he is that the magnet that is going to bring the country
I was
together.
doing the news yesterday morning. I came across one piece that Donald Trump comments on the Democratic debate. He said that I think Joe Biden will be nominated.
It's
He
not,
did say.
It's
He
not
did say.
secret. This
He
is not
did
secret.
say, quote unquote.
This
right?
is not secret. This is not. I said last in our show, if you remember, I said Biden is going to be.
That was before the debate. Though.
Before the debate, I told you.
That
I
was
told you
debate,
it's going to
yes.
be Biden, and I told you best scenario is going to be if Biden bring Sanders as Secretary of State, Elizabeth Warren. If you remember what I said, bring Elizabeth VP so we can solve the problem, and that's what we're heading now. But I think that Biden is going to be our Democratic Party nominee. I'm not psychic, but looking at knowing Democratic Party, knowing the centrist, the energy that has, I think yes, in the debate, Elizabeth Warren and Biden, they're going to shine. But I think what Biden is going to do, he's going to be able to bring them in a platform all together.
Sure, I agree. I wanted to back you up by my take from this perspective, though. Obama's 8 years has proven that was somebody, if you duplicate exactly an Obama to continue from Donald Trump, that probably would not save the country.
No.
Right? And Donald Trump, if you duplicate another Donald Trump, or let Donald Trump himself to act as the president of the United States for another 4 years, that will not save the country either. Now, that said, it doesn't mean, to me, it doesn't mean that Donald Trump is a bad guy, and it doesn't mean either Barack Obama was a bad guy.
I understand. I
Right?
understand completely.
Now, somebody who will cut the silver lining in between walks in, though, that probably would be the best. And looking around all the other 2019 of the candidates, though, only Joe Biden could be the one who do the silver lining walk.
That's what I think, the delegate and Democratic Party core leaders, they're not looking for debates. They're looking for the candidate that, can confront Donald Trump, can raise money, because that money becomes an issue. Some of the candidates, they have, probably a good, platform, but, they can't raise money. But Biden, he has a huge, wealthy donors backing him up. So that's going to be
From
fact that,
honestly, from other perspective, though, if you do an oil painting of a portrait, right, you need a face, you need a background. Well, if I had to be the artist doing your portrait, though, I would put all of them together. I know that all I need is your face, but I can afford to lose the background. So the 19, 20, 21, whatsoever, they are the background for Joe Biden. It could be that
His
way.
background is full of, resume is, very impressive. I think, but the only thing is, he's getting old. He's getting old. So I think, but
He's
Reagan
70,
said that
76, right?
But they have the same thing, when they asked Reagan, when he was competing with I forgot his name, and he laughed, Reagan, just like, hey, you're bringing that issue. The same thing, I think. But as coming to your question, I think Biden is going to be savior for Democratic Party. Elizabeth Warren, she's going to be the VP. She has to be the VP to not divide the party like we did to 2016, because Democratic Party
I'm
are
not
divided
sure
now.
about the VP part. I'm talking about Joe Biden. If really we're serious about what the country needs, though, without any prejudice, I would say Joe Biden be the one, and for a change. All right, my dear friend, with my brother Chris Shahinian, we are talking about the candidate of the Democratic Party debate, right, over the nomination of a presidential candidate. It is important. It is very important. Let's take a short moment out. When we come back, I have a brand new idea, right, to indicate why this country do not need something or anything of where Senator Bernie Sanders represent. So stay with us. We'll be right back, please.
Everything is
We have
expected
continue to
straight.
work
It's
on
like
it
it
now.
seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host English news.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the East West Show, exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgium royal family designated brand that has a history 400 years and handforged by 10 generations of the master craftsman, that stands for a testimony to the spectacular and the share of the royal glory. Back to the show with my friend, Mr. Chris Shahinian, we are going step to analyze the Democratic debate of the 2021 candidates, right? Okay, we came to a rough conclusion that we're looking for a commander type of, a general type of, admiral type of person who has the charisma, who has the support of overall, cross-line, cross-party, crossover, say, hey, here is the flag, let's unite. Something like that, right? It looks like Joe Biden so far sounds to be the one. I just now foreshadowed the fact that I believe this country, at this moment, we are not ready to accept anything from where Bernie Sanders represents.
Let me tell you, I don't want to defend Bernie Sanders. I don't want to defend Elizabeth Warren, but that's our country is shifting. When I say country shifting, every 10 years, mentality change. That's what we were, in our history, we were evolving, during all this time. Coming from 150 years ago about, the Civil War started because of slavery. And then 100 years later, we just, Lyndon Johnson passed, Voting Rights Act, But we is evolving, and as today, the country is, shifted from 10 years. There's a lot of people, they are aligned with Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's ideology. A lot of people. We're talking about millions. So either we just ignore them all or win them over. I think we're coming to your question, who's going to do that? And I said earlier, Democratic Party looks like East and West, because I know there's a big gap between Democratic Party. And Biden or anybody else is going to be the nominee, he's going to have tough time. Tougher than beating Donald Trump. Tough time to bring the Democratic Party together. That's the toughest thing to do. And Biden has the experience, has the knowledge. Biden even has something extra, foreign policy expertise that, to can bring the respect of our outside nation back to the United States, because we lost it last 3 years. No one respects us anymore. People, our allies, they just looking at us, is this idiot your president? But Biden, he can even fix that part. He can bring the respect to our country but in order to do that, he has to fix the broken home inside now. The party is broken from inside. And
yes,
Elizabeth
yes.
Warren, she has to be, if Biden ignore Elizabeth Warren, he never can win against Trump.
I agree. In my view, the division of the party is exactly same as the division of the country.
Yes,
Right
more
now,
actually.
At the time of division, people are looking around for something. Are we, or shall we do better if we do this or do that? It was a moment of doing that. All right, now, at this very moment, you better not scare them. If you are showing something to totally have them scared, though, you lose the whole thing. It looks to me, of course, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, they see the moment when people are not satisfied with the present, they are looking around for some change, for something new. However, what they are showing the public, general public, is too scary. All right? So that makes the general public rejecting whatever they say.
But sometimes fear works, Jack. Sometimes
I know.
fear works.
I know. For example, socialism. All right? Bernie Sanders may say something of policy-wise, 1, 2, or 3. To label himself a socialist is a big, 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 big mistake that scares everybody.
Like the same that scares when white supremacists comes with that idea. The same thing scary for us. Scary.
You'd better talk about issues, not labels.
Yes, scary. But I think progressive and Warren and Bernie Sanders, they were trying to get the spotlight and then rally their troops, because there are a lot of young people they support them, a lot of young people, so they can override Biden's power in Democratic Party. That's what the fight in Democratic Party.
Okay, now even we let the young enthusiasm go pass, right? So next thing is that anybody with sober mind will ask a second question: where to get the money?
Yeah, that's what yesterday, Biden said, where are we going to get that $3 billion?
Where to get the money?
$3 billion. Who's going to give that? And that was the good time.
You want to do socialism? Okay, let's do it. Do we have the socialism money?
I'm going to come by. Biden was, because he knows, because he's been there.
Yeah,
he said,
sure.
guys, you guys talking something irrelevant. We don't have $30 billion.
Yeah.
That was his moment that, wow, Elizabeth Warren and, they're not telling the truth.
You are running a country. You are not running a slogan, right?
Yeah.
If you're running a slogan, okay, let's get a free college, let's get a free tuition all the way to Howard, okay? We can do that.
And by the way, and as I said that, in our last.
But where to get the money?
There's no money, by the way.
There is none. There is none.
There's none. That was one of the moments,
we have our defense military budget fixed. Nobody can touch.
Untouchable that.
Right? And then we have infrastructure broken already. Nobody has a penny for it.
True.
And then all of a sudden you create a free schooling, free universal care.
You know where the money is going to come? Where's the money is going to come?
Where's the money going to come?
Raise 10% your tax, my friend.
By robbing?
10%? No, they're going to raise your tax 10%.
Already,
and we can't afford 1%.
You're right.
10%.
That's exactly why they are losers.
And no one is talking about that.
Yeah.
They're covering it up.
That's exactly why they lose. Because I hate to be cut anymore. I'm cutting.
10% is going to go.
I'm being cut to the bone already.
Yeah, but they are afraid to say that. They are afraid. They're going to try to avoid that time after time. They're not going to say that.
Logically, physically, whatsoever, there is no room for further taxing.
Well, they're using good sentence. Let me tell you, we're going to tax the rich, like Trump did. We're going to build a wall. Mexico is going to pay for it, right? The same thing. Rich, we're going to get the rich.
This morning, I heard a real comment on my way in, though. Even Donald Trump has recognized that the wall is not realistic.
Yeah, and they're going to recognize, believe me. After they become any president, they're going to say, wow, unrealistic.
Anything.
They're going to say unrealistic.
Anything. When it comes down to money, well, it tells right or wrong, black and white.
If there's, one of the candidates yesterday, Tulsi Gabbard, she said very good. She had a very good moment, and she said it shouldn't be this way. We're spending, sending our troops, to Afghanistan. We spend $2 trillion there. We can bring our kids back there. We can invest that money in our infrastructure. But no one's listening there. No one is giving that attention because that's untouchable.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, now, there are two things. There's one issue that has two sides, all right? Literally or logically or reasonably, you should not have done that in the first place.
Yep.
Problem is, once you made the first move, and there's never a way to go back. You're in it.
We are in it, and right? we talk so many
times. At this
times.
very moment, we're in this, we're in that, we're in this, in that, and we are all over more than 1,000 military base all over the world, though.
No one can stop that.
No one can stop.
No one.
And
not
there's
even
no way we can back from.
No one can do that.
There is no way we can back from.
No, we can't.
And then with the Jack Chow taxpayers, such as Jack Chow, such as Chris Shahinian, well, we're cut to the bone already. There are rich people. Okay, they are rich. you can go ahead and tax them. They will stop creating jobs.
They
will
go to
stop
China, they go to Vietnam, they go
to fly everywhere. You are committing suicide by doing that.
That's bad leadership, bad governing. That's what, if you look at the history, that's
why,
what the French Revolution
that's
started.
Why,
because the King George says, what King Louis said, go eat, cake if you don't have bread. That's what happened.
The general public of America is that they are kind of getting stuffed in the room. They open the door a little bit to see outside, is there anything better? That is very moment, but you better shine something, highlights. If you do something like Bernie Sanders did, you scare them. They shut them down right away. They backed off. My God, where do we get the money?
They are, scary, but unfortunately, they have a crowd, crowd that's cheering for them. That's what they're fighting for, their own.
I know.
Group.
I want a free college.
Yeah.
Right, which my daughter will benefit. I want a free medical care. I can benefit. Anybody can benefit, and I want everything. I want $1,000 every week for nothing. On top of my salary whatsoever.
I'm gonna go to a restaurant for free.
Good. How about that? And then I want a tour around the world.
Unfortunately, those.
But where does the money come from?
Jack,
let's talk about the money.
And they know, and smart people, we know that that's not going to happen. And when Donald Trump said, Mexico is going to build the wall, we know Mexico doesn't have money. How are they going to bring? We knew, but it worked for him. It worked for Trump.
All right,
it might work for Bernie Sanders.
All right, my dear friend, my lovely audience, is with my dear friend Chris Shahidin, we're having a good time because we did some thorough analysis of the 20 candidates. Mainly, we talk about 3 versus Donald Trump. Also, we got a moment to touch base about the country, which is at this very moment we're so divided that we need somebody to heal up. And we decided that we need somebody with the admiral type of quality who can make one call for the nation to unite, right? And among the 20 so far, we haven't seen one. So with Joe Biden as the one who seems to be likely going that way, though, we believe that he has one more year time to go, or hopefully, wishfully, he will do something. He will show something better. All right, my dear friend, my lovely audience, so far so good. So let's look for it. No, we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.